Hello everyone, welcome back into the studio. Today we're here for tutorial number 13. My name is Kaylee and I paint wet on wet landscape oil paintings. I thought we would do something a little different today. Kind of a reflected scene, some trees reflecting into water and some leaves in the foreground. Definitely doing some autumn colors and not too sure how it's going to work out, so we're all in it together. As far as paints are concerned today, we're using titanium white, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, bright red, Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, Phthalo Green, Prussian Blue, Dyke Brown, and Midnight Black. To start off, I'm just going to tap into the Prussian Blue, get a good bit of that on the brush. Load it up on both sides. And starting from the top, we will make it nice and dark up here. Just picking up some more paint. And I'm going to work this down pretty far into the canvas, and we'll allow it to lighten up as we get further down. And we'll come back and blend it. As I'm getting further down, there's less and less paint, but I'm also using less pressure. I'm just going to kind of soften this out with my dirty brush for now. Nice and lightly done. This is kind of the sky part that is going to be behind our trees that are reflecting into the water. I'm actually going to also use that down at the bottom, reload it, and we'll just start with some dark down here. Moving up, we'll lighten the pressure on the brush. Just go all the way across now. Next, on that dirty brush, I'm going to pick up some Phthalo Green and Alizarin Crimson and just mix them on the brush. We're looking for a gray color, and grab some titanium white. Should be gray blue, since it is still dirty with our Prussian Blue. Just going to lighten it up now until it's the color I want. Let's try that out. Just kind of want to tint it with this gray, maybe a little more pressure here. And I want a little bit down here as well. Okay, I'm going to pick up a blending brush, and starting in the middle where it's the lightest, I'm going to start softening all of these edges. I just want it to be very nice and soft and misty. I really want to kind of gray this area out here. Just a tiny bit of that gray on the brush. Just soften this up a bit down here as well. I'm going to pick up my dirty brush and go right into the Dyke Brown. Good bit of that. I want to add this to the bottom down here so we can give it some time to soak in just a tiny bit so it's easier to work with later. This is just Dyke Brown. Getting a good bit of that just down here on the bottom. And now we'll use that as well up here on the top. We're going to need this area nice and dark, so we'll just start adding a tiny bit more in there for us. I'm just going to give just some little ideas of some darker shadows just to put in some dark to make it easier. Soften that. With the blending brush, I'm just going to soften these edges into kind of a nice semicircle on the bottom. And we'll blend this out just a little as well. Maybe pull that down. And straight across. Just getting out the brush strokes. I just cleaned off the brush a little bit and I want to soften this even more. Nice. Okay, we're going to start painting some of these trees that are coming down into our reflection here. To do that, I'm going to grab a little bit of Dyke Brown, and I'm using my Sable brush. I'm going to mix that with some Sap Green and some Prussian Blue. a little bit more Van Dyke Brown. We're just going to test out this color and see how it looks. It's a little too green. A little more Van Dyke Brown. And some Alizarin Crimson, just a touch. And I'm starting with the darkest part of the paint up at the top, and I'm going to just kind of dance in the idea of some pine trees up here. Picking up a little bit more paint. There's going to be quite a few, so we don't need to get super crazy about details or anything, and this is also the reflection, so we're just putting in an idea. I'm mixing up some more paint of just the Van Dyke Brown, some Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, and a touch of Prussian Blue. I'm going to pick out a few kind of where I think I want the trees to be, so that I can have, like, so I don't go too crazy on them. We'll just get a few. Let's just work these through and kind of dance in some ideas. Let's try and finish this one up a little, give them a little bit more. Now I'm going to get just a touch more of the Sap Green. I just want to kind of change the flavor of the color. Just a touch of titanium white. Let's see how it goes starting from the top. Van Dyke Brown, Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, a little bit more Sap Green now. Maybe there's just a little one right in, in front of this other bunch here. Just a kind of different flavor. Just sticking out through there. A little bit more green coming out. It's nice. Gonna get a little bit more Van Dyke Brown, a little more Alizarin Crimson. Darken that. Darker as we get to the top. Maybe let's use some of that same color that we just had. Kind of more of the greenish. Let's just throw in some more over on this side. And we don't have to be strict on what these are looking like. We're just giving an idea of this dark, just to let the mind do the rest. Let's try a little darker now. I'm going to pick up just a touch of Midnight Black and some more Prussian Blue. Then our same Alizarin Crimson and Sap Green. We've got a nice dark color here. Right on down, or up. On the other side they're going up. Just the same paint, just reloaded the brush. I'm going to take a little bit of this dark brown that we were just using and kind of just pick out a few darker areas that didn't get the darkness that I really want. And I'm just kind of gonna mix in some of this brown, and we'll let it get a little bit of time to dry before we go crazy in blending this some more. I just want to get some dappled kind of texture underneath the water. We're going to put some leaves in here as well, but this is just, I just think it'll help get us some texture kind of below, just working with these darker colors so that the lighter leaves will really show up. Midnight Black, a little Prussian Blue now. Throw in some kind of more shadowy colors. Really dark. That's what we want. Nice. And just a touch more. Okay. I'm really liking this kind of gray mixture that we kind of concocted on the brush. I'm gonna keep using that and just put in a few ideas of a few more trees kind of out in here. Just mixing up the flavor. These are a little bit more on the blue side. I'm just tapping them in. Maybe tap kind of like some tree tops, just poking through. Maybe a few back here. And I'm thinking I want just a few more kind of right out here in the middle and the front. Just gonna darken this. Just saw that bit there I wanted to change, but now we'll use this color, kind of get a bigger one going here. I want this area to be nice and dark. I'm gonna use the 1-inch brush to get us another style of kind of a tree going, just to vary it up a little bit. Similar colors. Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, Prussian Blue, Dyke Brown. We want a dark color, but just slightly different than what we've got on there already. Start with that. I'm going to pick out a few areas and just tap. I think I need some more paint. Let's do that. Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, Dyke Brown, Prussian Blue. Just getting a little bit more in the brush there so that we can get these to tap out. There we go. Now down on the other side, I'm just laying the brush completely flat and just tapping it out. A little bit bigger at the bottom. Maybe let's flavor this one a little more towards the lighter side. And let's tap in a few just right in here. Now I want to take my blending brush and just very, very lightly, I'm going to go across here, straight across, just to soften that down a little bit and give it that reflective look. Not too much though, just a little. Wipe it off, and then we can go up. I'm going to add a little bit of green, just some ideas, a little bit of these reflected colors, just a few little ideas here and there. We have these colors up here, so we just want to kind of give an idea of some of these similar reflected colors down below. Not too much though, we'll leave that now. And let's actually pick up the blending brush and go straight across. Lift it up. And straight across again. Isn't that nice? It kind of has some dappled looks. We can still darken some of that up. Dyke Brown, Midnight Black, Prussian Blue. Just a few areas. We definitely want to make this just darker in a few of these. And now I'm going to add some Alizarin Crimson just right in the corners. Okay, we'll put in some trees now. Let's mix up some Dyke Brown and whatever our brown mixture is over here with some titanium white. Kind of a grayish, greenish, whitish. I don't want too bright of a color. And I'm just going to get a small roll of that on the knife. And I'm going to pick out an idea for a few of our aspen trees back here. See, I'm gonna try and tap into some of this paint and draw them in. Just drag a little bit of paint off of the knife. I'm gonna lighten this color up just a touch with a little bit more titanium white. I just want it to stand out a tiny bit more. And I'm kind of just tapping and dragging at the same time so that it has a little bit of texture. And I don't want to like glob up too much paint on the canvas because this is still we still have more layers to put on here, and it's just a reflection, so it's not going to be like as built up as the tree would be if we were painting it not reflected. And give them a little bit of kind of, you know, uniqueness. Don't just do like straight lines. They do generally grow like the birch style or the white bark trees. There's all kinds of different ones, so you can pick out just whatever you like and do whatever color you like. And we're gonna fix these bottoms, well, tops. It's so confusing because we're painting a reflection, but we'll fix the tops of the tree and we'll add in some branches. But first we're just going to get an idea of where they are and where they are living. Just a whole group of them over here. I really wanted to have some kind of autumn colors. I know we're not quite into fall, but we're getting close, and it's definitely been warm, and everybody's just kind of hoping that it's going to cool off. But I know we're not like completely there here in Utah. It's probably still going to get a little warm. But anyway, the autumn colors are pretty fun to paint, and I thought you would enjoy it. Be sure to let me know in the comments below if you decide that you're going to paint this painting. I'd love to see your version of it. If you do different colors, or if you just tried, oh, you just wanted to do something that was like a cool reflection and this sparked your eye. I would love to know. Just send me an email, kaylee@kayleerakowski.com. And also thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel and who watches my videos. I appreciate all of you for your comments and, you know, just being here and supporting me and learning to paint. Maybe it's just really fun to be able to share this all with you. Maybe I should do some little ones, huh? We'll do just some short little ones in here. Maybe add a couple branches to a few just to mix it up. And I'm thinking a few more over here. I'm going to take my script liner now and just thin that down to just kind of clean up the ends. We're just going to make a little bit of this gray kind of extend out of the tops of some of these to clean them up. And then we might be able to put in a few more little branches here and there. Let's just be sure that they're all kind of finished up at the top, so to speak. Okay, I'm gonna just leave them like that for right now. And we're gonna go into some of the autumn colors now. Let's pick up a little bit of yellow ochre and just darken that a touch with some Dyke Brown and some Alizarin Crimson. I just want to kind of dull the color out a little bit. And I'm going to use this to pick out a few areas where we will have some of our more autumn colors, and I'm just making sure that I don't go too crazy here. I'm actually going to pick up a little bit of Indian yellow and just tap out some color. Let's see how this goes. Mixing in between a few of your yellows. Oof, I need to hold on. Maybe we kind of tap them in. Just an idea. I'm getting some Alizarin Crimson and yellow ochre. A little more Indian yellow now. Let's pick up a little bit of liquid white. I don't want a whole lot of it, so I'm gonna get rid of some of that over here and go right back into the Indian yellow and yellow ochre. And we'll just continue to add a few ideas of some leaves, just tapping them in however you really feel, you know, we want just a little bit of color and variety, but we're still kind of working with some of the darker areas of these autumn leaves. I'm just adding in some bright red and alizarin crimson. I'm darkening it up a little bit here. Just going for slightly different flavors here and there and giving it different looks for different leaves. I just want a lot of variety. And maybe a little bit more liquid white with this Indian yellow. And we'll just pop one out right here in front. I like that. I want to do that again. Same colors, just right out in front. Well, that's really nice. Okay, let's grab a little more liquid white. I think we're good on the Indian yellow. I'm going right into the yellow ochre now. Just a touch of the mixture we had. And let's just pick out another little bright spot. Maybe it's up high. And we'll go back into our darker mixtures with the thinner paint now. I'm just tapping into the paint to open up the bristles, so that we can get a variety of leaf shapes in here and different colors, because I just think it would be so fun just to play around with colors up here. I'm going to wipe out some of that liquid white. I want to kind of dull this paint back down. I need a little bit more kind of richness in here. And right into the yellow ochre. And let's just add some color. Maybe down in here. A little yellows, some golds. And right down at what's going to be kind of like the bottom of all of these trees, I'm going to put in a little bit of kind of a green mixture, just for like the bottom of the trees where they're coming to meet the water's edge. It's a little bit too much liquid white, but I wanted to get it nice and thin. I had to get a little bit more sap green. I wanted it more green. Here we go. That's nice. And I'll just tap in a few kind of nice greenish areas. And I'm thinking we need just a tiny bit more pop right over here. This is just Indian yellow straight. Still just Indian yellow. Go into a little bit of liquid white. Maybe we've got some sparklers over here. Maybe a few leaves just hanging. Okay. We're gonna add in a few more tree branches out here in the front. Let's just pick up the script liner and some liquid white with that gray mixture we were using. So it's a little lighter now. And we'll just use the script liner to add in little branches and some trees that you can just see right out in front. Maybe some branches coming off of the trees. Now I'm just going to take my palette knife and scrape in just a few little ideas. We're still going to blend out these reflections, but I want to add in some more tree branch just kind of in the background. You can scrape out a few branches and they'll pull through and just look like you spent so much more time on detail than this really takes. So give it a try. It definitely works out pretty well. Okay, and we're gonna leave that. I want to just add a little bit out here to this tree with some sap green on my Sable brush. I'm just going to give us one more out here. I wasn't really a fan of the way that branch or stalk turned out. So we'll kind of just push this right out in front, this kind of nice dark bit anyway. There we go. Add just a touch of green, a little more green on the brush. Kind of clean up the base, a touch over here. And then I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. And we'll start working on some of this lower area. I'm gonna lift this all up on the bottom one more time and go all the way across just to soften it nicely. Lift that up a little more. Lots of pressure here. All the way across. Now we've got all these colors working in and just this nice soft blended area in between. Trying to make this kind of like a slight like semicircle up here, just a little bit more rounded. Like the camera's kind of looking straight on, or if you're just sitting there. Now I'm going to pick up the Sable brush again, and we're gonna start playing with some leaves kind of in the water. So there's gonna be some leaves, maybe they're under the water, so we don't really see them all that well, but we see their colors. So we'll just put in a few of those. And I'm just gonna play around with my colors here and try and add in some different leaves and some textures. Some bright red, maybe some Alizarin Crimson, Indian yellow. Maybe we'll get some kind of leaves that are like straight on. Kind of just ended up looking like a heart, but okay. They can be any kinds of leaves that you want. Just varying up the angles and the shapes, doing some small ones and some bigger ones. Just wiggling out some kind of rounder, more round leaves, like they're just right in front of you. And we can come back and put in some stems and stuff later. Maybe some other types of leaves. Just using all of my autumn colors, browns, yellow, and we're just adding in the flavor of these leaves below the water. Some of them have sunk down and are just sitting on the bottom. Let's go for a few really darker ones. Yellow ochre and just our brown mixtures, Alizarin Crimson and Sap Green. Just kind of some darker ones. Maybe we'll add some shadows below some of them. Maybe we have some more leaves. Just some darker brown. Some Indian yellow again, yellow ochre. Let's do one this way, kind of like a red maple. But these are just kind of like, they're just reflections, or these are the leaves under the water, sorry. So we just want lots and lots of ideas of leaves down here. I'm gonna lighten up this color a little bit using just some titanium white and Indian yellow. And we'll work up here on some other fun leaves. Okay, I'm gonna wipe off the Sable brush. I really want a nice bright yellow now. So going right into the Indian yellow, then the titanium white. And we'll just actually soften this first, going across just very lightly. I'm barely touching. Across this way. Maybe give it a lift. And I'm going to put the Sable brush down. I'm going to add in just still a little bit more dark down into the bottom. I'm using the Filbert brush here. I'm going to go into some Dyke Brown and Alizarin Crimson, some Sap Green, using that same brown mixture that we made before. And I want to add some rocks and some more dark areas down here, maybe some shadows. Just fill in all of these dark areas. Maybe leave a few gaps, but I want kind of some rounded shapes, like there's just some rocks and stones down here. Just some dirt and rocks. Just some Alizarin Crimson, Sap Brown, Dyke Brown, little Midnight Black. Some more down here. Boop. Let's give that a lift and across. Nice. Now that we've kind of let this top sit for a minute, I want to just soften it. So we're going to pull down super lightly just to give it a water look. Straight down. I'm barely touching. I'm going to wipe off the brush. And then starting in this lighter area, I'm going to work across, pulling out kind of some water lines. Wipe off the brush, see if we can do it from this side. Barely touching. Now let's go all the way across. So we have one cohesive look. This side. Okay, I'm gonna leave that for a minute. All right, I'm just gonna use this light mixture that I put on my Sable brush to put in a few bigger leaves that are lighter, kind of more on top. Not quite like on the top of the water, but just they're a little bit higher up. We can kind of see them a little better. Kind of imagining these like little round ones, like little aspen leaves. They're just kind of bumpy around the edges. Now I just grabbed a little bit of Indian yellow, kind of just change the flavor a bit. And I'm going to dance in some leaves here and there. The Sable brush is pretty nice for leaves. It stays together decently, so you can kind of get both sides of the leaf. You do have to use thinner paints when you're painting with it, but I do enjoy it. For this kind of different styles of leaves, you can just angle the brush towards the stem of where the leaf is going to head, and then just make sure that you always bring it back to there. And you can make just different, from different, looking at them from different sides and stuff. And we have all different kinds of leaves. Maybe we have a few like oak leaves. Gonna get some reds again. We'll just put in a few ideas here and there of some other leaves. It's almost like we're doing a little bouquet, but that's not quite what we're doing here. I'm gonna get like an orange, nice dark orange. right here in the middle. Reds, orange. Guess I blew out a bulb. That's okay, there's still 3 left. We'll see if they make it. Let's do one of these ones again. I'm gonna clean out this Sable brush. I want it to work just a tiny bit up here on these trees, just to add a little bit more detail and kind of soften them up, just to give them a little bit more, some softness. Maybe this one here. Now back to my dark leaves. I'm gonna work on just a few more darker layers just before we finish up and do the tops of our leaves. So we'll just put in a few more ideas. It's okay if we go on top of other ones. Just want little leaves, little ideas of some things going on. Let's get some Indian yellow. Alizarin Crimson, and some Dyke Brown. Maybe we'll just darken some of this area up a little more. Got some darker leaves. Alizarin Crimson and Dyke Brown. Maybe there's just some rocks and debris. We don't really know. Just some dark here and there and there and here. Little midnight black. Let's go back into some of our reds. Little tiny bit more dark down here. Okay, I want to add in just a few kind of just ideas of some of the leaf stems. So we need kind of a darker color from the color of the leaf, but not too much. So I just mixed up kind of a darker maroon. Let's pick out a few of these and just see. Not quite dark enough for that. Let's get a little bit more. Got into some Dyke Brown and Alizarin Crimson. And let's see if we can just bring in a few ideas of some stems on these leaves. And we don't want to bring like too much detail into them, But we do want to give an idea that they are actually here and that there's something going on with them, you know? So we'll just add in a few ideas. I'm getting just all the colors, whatever is going to stick and be in contrast to the leaf that you're painting, and we'll just put in a few ideas of some leaves and some kind of the stems here. Maybe lighten that up a little. Let's do just some sticks and some branches or twigs, because there's definitely going to be some branches out here and some sticks. Let's get a darker Alizarin Crimson and Sap or Dyke Brown. I'm having such a hard time with paints lately. I think I'm just getting tired, but we will continue because we're almost done. A little lighter now. Just throw them in wherever you think that they should go. Being sure to change up your colors by just mixing into all of those same colors that we were using before. I'm kind of just adding a little shadow under some of these really dark ones, or the really light ones. Okay, let's leave that for just a second. And now I'm gonna clean off this whole area of these yellows. Just give myself a fresh space to work. Okay, now that I have some nice and clean colors here, I'm gonna clean off the Sable brush. Just wipe it out. And now we're gonna work on a few of our lighter colors, of our lighter leaves on top. So we want these colors to be a little bit more bold, a little bit more pizzazz. So we're gonna pick up some titanium white and Indian yellow, straight, and we'll add a few of these just right over the top of what we already have. Get some more paint. Now it looks like we're gonna need to thin this down with the liquid white to get them to stick. That's okay. Just redo this side here. Now we'll do the whole thing, I suppose. Let's do a couple more of those. Maybe we've got the back side there and the front side. liquid white. We want to keep it nice and bright if we can. And we'll just dab in a few more of these kind of right on top. I'm going to add a little bit of light to this side. And let's do a big one, maybe right here. And let's put some red in there, get a different flavor, kind of a bright orange. Do a few more. Titanium or liquid white to make sure it's nice and thin, so it's going to just kind of glide right over what we have. Maybe some small ones out here. Moving up, let's just wipe out some excess paint, get some liquid white, brighten it up a little bit. Get a few more out here. And let's dance in a few stems to that nice bright color. Few more of those here and there, different directions. Wipe out this brush again, liquid white. I'm gonna go all the way over here into a very fresh spot and get a tiny bit of Indian yellow. I want this to be just a super sunshine bright. We're gonna pop in just a couple brighter leaves right over the top. These are just however you want them to look and however many that you want and feel the need to put on. I just want it to feel like it's super autumn colors and just all kinds of fun, bright and browns and gold, to really just give you that feeling. I'm gonna just pop on a few highlights on a few of these, just picking one side of that leaf to be the top and pop on a little bit of color, maybe the shadow side for some. If you have the darker, just give them a little bit of a two-tone feel so that they're not all just one color, just a little more flavor to it. Maybe these ones get some light. Just some tiny. They're just on the top or just really far away. Like these just little leaves. They're just all kinds of different variety of color and ways that you can play with the color and get different, you know, looks that you want. Today this is kind of more like an abstract-ish, like kind of just imagining you could just put any color in blobs down here and wipe over it, and you know, it can be reflections, or you can get super detailed about it and get, you know, go for that more like realistic look. But just whatever feels comfortable to you is what you should do. Add in a few kind of colors down here, some Alizarin Crimson, bright red, yellow ochre, okay, the moment of truth. Let's just give this a try, lifting up very lightly, straight up. And I guess we'll start from the top where it's lighter, and we'll go all the way across. Let's bring this down just to cover the edges. Gonna clean off this Sable brush and work just a little bit to balance some of these colors, Alizarin Crimson and some Dyke Brown, Midnight Black. Just some of that on the brush. I just want to add in a little bit of dark here. A little bit here. Just kind of lost some of that, and I want to bring some of this dark back up to the top, which is where these, you know, some of these colors are coming from the dark trees above. I'm going to add just a few more areas of darkness to the top. I just took a step away to look at it, and I think I just want a little bit more, a few areas of darkness that kind of pop through. So I'm just going to kind of tap in between, and once we soften this out in a little bit, it'll all come together. Just a few bits of dark more, just to bring this together so that we have the same kind of dark and light going on here. Now we're going to add some leaves onto the top of the water. So I thought we would just get really crazy and put them in with a knife. So I'm just going to start off with a color and just load up a good bit of that on my knife. And I'm going to pick out a few areas and push out some leaves, just a couple. Let's brighten this up with some titanium white. Maybe we have one right here. Let's put on the other side. And a little stem. Wipe that off. I'm gonna grab some titanium white, and it's kind of dirty for my palette, and just pick out some areas and put on some just different ideas in different areas of some shiny parts, some maybe leaves on the top of the water. Let's maybe try some of this color, and we'll do a little leaf there. Picking up some reds. Maybe we'll do some yellow again. We'll go all the way around. Oh, we lost a little bit in the middle. Just like those aspen leaves. Maybe a few out here. We want these to just kind of be different than what's below, so that you could tell that it's on top. And then we'll kind of flatten out a few. I'm gonna pick up some dark brown. This is Dyke Brown, just on the knife, and I'm just tapping in a few ideas for some of the leaf, you know, stems. I don't know what you call that. It's still part of the leaf, but it's like what attaches it to the tree. Don't judge me, I'm tired. I had a long weekend painting and teaching at a camp, kids camp. We just painted some fun little scenes out in the nature area by a stream. There was running water. We had a lot of fun. So I'm a little bit tired, but I'm excited to be here for tutorial number 13. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you'll always be alerted when I have a new video. I do little wild cards throughout the week, and then I post every Tuesday for Tutorial Tuesday. And I've been really excited to be able to get you some fun new ideas for painting and just show you that you don't have to stress about an oil painting. You can just do it in your own time, but you also don't have to take 5 years to paint one. So you can spend a day and have yourself a beautiful painting at the end and feel like you have an accomplishment, which I really like, to be able to finish the piece. And you know, sometimes I'm not like, oh yeah, this is my favorite painting ever. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. So you just have to be really patient and keep trying, because you'll learn new ways to maybe paint leaves on the top of the water, for instance. Like, I've never done this before, so I'm just trying stuff out, and you can do the same thing. I thought this would look cool, but you know, I'm never gonna know if I can do it until I try. So before I just ruin this whole area with leaves, I'm going to just very softly get some of these areas that I missed. And now we want to add a shadow, like, so we could tell that these leaves are in fact on top of the water. So I just have a dark paint, and I'm just going to touch it underneath some of these leaves in areas so that we can tell that it's just sitting on top of the water. Hopefully it will do what I'm thinking it will. I'm pulling it out like as flat as I can, but still using the similar shape to the leaf. Now we'll add just a tiny bit liquid white with some of this gray mixture that we have down here. I want it not super bright, so nice and gray down, but thin. Just put a few of those just in a couple areas around the leaves so that we can really get a good perspective on this being water. I mean, hopefully it looks like that. Let me step away and look. Yeah, maybe I'll pull out a little bit. Just a teensy bit on some of these, like a reflection of those leaves in the water. Maybe that'll work. Try it. I'm getting so quiet. You can tell I'm focused. Okay. Very lightly. Yeah, that worked really well. Okay. Now, back to the gray on the knife. Just a few gray water lines. Maybe some up here. Over here. I'm gonna add a little dark under these leaves, like they're kind of standing, they're further away, but they might be on top of the water. Some gray again of our water mixture, and just a few more lines. I'm gonna leave that. Check out the top up here. I'm gonna clean out my 2-inch brush and just go lightly down through these new dark areas to incorporate those softly. And I want to add a few pops of yellow up in the top. Just needs a little something. Sable brush, titanium white, liquid white, Indian yellow. Then tap that out, separate the brush a little bit, and we'll just dab in a few ideas of some lighter bits, some lighter leaves out here. Maybe they're actual leaves out on the top of the water, but they're just so much, they're across the stream or across this water that it's reflecting. My goodness, I'm glad we're almost done. I'm feeling so very hard on words. But this is kind of part of the fun for me. I don't know why. Just maybe the gratification of finishing it now that I know I'm just so tired, and I'm still having a lot of fun. So anyway, thank you for being here with me and painting with me. I would love to see if you end up painting this painting. Please email me, Kaylee@KayleeRakowski.com. I'm gonna stop there. I want just like some more red, Indian yellow, a touch of some kind of leaves over here that are red. Just straight across. Do like little lines. Okay, I'm gonna leave that. Pull it down very, very lightly and go across. Gonna just add a little bit more red here. Maybe a little Alizarin Crimson. Just a little bit more pop on some of these. There we go. few little more leaves up on top of the water just across the pond. We'll add a few shadows under them. And just make them look flat on the bottom, kind of water, like they're laying on top. Just use your knife and kind of scrape it out a little. That's it. I'm gonna sign it. Just thinning my paint out with the bright red and some liquid white. Well, that wraps it up for me today. Thank you so much for joining me in my studio for tutorial number 13. I thought we would just do something completely different, something I've never done, probably something you've never done. Send me some photos if you give this a try, Kaylee at KayleeRakowski.com. I would love to see what this sparks up in your mind, and what you end up creating based off of this tutorial, some of the colors, or maybe you do it way better than me. Send me your photos. I'd love to see it. I'm just showing you a couple of different ways, and I'm walking you through my process for the wet on wet landscape oil paintings. Please subscribe to the channel so that you're always going to be alerted when I have new videos. Make sure you hit that little bell so you get all of the notifications. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun painting this. Smile and be happy, friends.